Hey, it's the only one we'll have of these in 4 years.
That's true. John, man, thanks for coming on short notice.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I figured it was February 29th. It comes around once every 4 years.
Might as well.
Might as well come over and hang out, shoot the shit. The last one that you did was September. Mm-hmm. That's how long it's been since you've been here.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. almost the whole winter.
Pretty much. Well, winter, summer, fall, back to winter.
Spring.
Whatever it is we got going on.
God, it has been just... Don't get me wrong. I'm loving not spending days on end in a plow truck.
Yep.
I'm loving that part of my life.
Yep.
But it has been a weird winter.
It's been strange. It's been strange.
Super weird.
I'll get the wood burner going and stoke it up. It'll run for 3 or 4 days and then it shuts off because it's 65 degrees out. That's good.
I was going to ask you about that today, and you just brought it up. First thing, topic off the top.
Mm-hmm.
You have an outdoor wood burner, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
I'm an idiot when it comes to these things. Talk to me about that a little bit.
As far as like
what is it? How does it work? I mean, obviously it's outside, so it's not in your home.
Correct.
So you have it, if I remember right, you have it to the east of your house.
Yep, I have it northeast of the house. It's off the northeast corner between the house and the garage. Basically, all it is you got your main burn chamber on it, and there's heat exchangers that are above it, and it has 2 pumps on the back, so I can, when I build my building, I'll have nice in-floor heat too. But off the one pump, there's 2, I want to say they're either 1 or 1.5 inch, like PEX tubing lines, and it comes in this 4-inch corrugated, looks like a drain tile, and they insulate both PEXs individually, and then they pull those through that corrugated, and then they spray foam all that corrugated to insulate it even more, so you don't have to bury it below the frost line. So you bury your piping from the boiler into your house, wherever, through the foundation. I went through a well window because those windows are only a foot tall or whatever. They're useless. So I knocked out a window, put it through, and then bricked in around it. I've got mine piped in. The primary heat exchanger for it is tied into the water heater. So all winter when that thing's running, I have hot water as long as I need it. Shower, dishes, anything. It's
whatever.
Wonderful. Yeah. And then it pipes out of that heat exchanger into a water coil that sits below the cooling coil in the furnace. So when the wood burner's running, it's heating up and cycling that water, and there's a aquastat, something like that. That's on.
I'll take your word on it.
Yeah. Well, it basically tells the control board on the furnace when the water gets up to 160, 170 degrees, and then the furnace flips over from burning LP, and it just runs the fan because that water coil that's sitting up there it's so hot that it's just pushing the air.
So you got a temperature sensor on that. So when the water gets warm enough, it shuts that off and goes to your furnace. Then.
Yeah, it tells your furnace basically that it just needs to run fan. It doesn't need to fire the gas regulator. So
that's slick.
It works out good. The only thing that the delay on it, I've got I wish I would have never bought it, but I've got a fucking 2-stage furnace, so it has a high and a low speed on the fan. Well, when you tie the wood burners into that, you have to tie into the low side for safety reasons. So it takes a minute. It takes a while when that thing first fires up to start going because your fan's running on low speed. Like if it was, say it's 60 out and your house is at 64, like it's running on minimum. But I might try and find a way to bypass that one day. Put a switch in or something. And say,
probably not supposed to say
fast.
that.
I'm certified.
Give her hell.
Yeah,
what's the worst that could happen?
Do some experimenting or something.
Make sure you do it, and then, you're on vacation for the next 5 days. So something bad happens. Oh, shit, I have no idea what happened, why my house burnt down.
I do like to take vacations.
So when it got real cold there, were you using that?
Fuck no.
Okay, I didn't know.
Not when it was that cold.
I didn't know if you were getting your ass out there in the cold, shoveling and cutting.
Get your ass out of bed 20 minutes, half hour earlier every day, which I get up at between 4 and 4:30 every day. So I didn't want to get up at 3:30, 3:45 to go out and
stoke it all
20 below. You got to rake the coals and stoke it and fill it. And yeah, it gets to be monotonous. So when it gets cold like that, shut the fucker down. And run
LP,
propane.
baby.
Yeah,
Burn some more of that up.
That's why we got backup propane. But like now, I mean, it's to the point where I could fill that thing, and it's so nice out during the days that the house stays up to temp. So I'll only fill it once a day. Whereas in the winter, like if it's daytime highs in the 20s or even the low 30s or whatever, I'll have to fill it, morning before I leave, and then normally I kind of stoke it, throw a couple logs in when I get home from work, and then I'll fill it again right before bed. So
now, will that take logs, or
anything.
you got to cut it up? And I mean, how big's the
burn door on it?
Yeah, I was gonna say the burn door chamber, whatever.
The chamber, yeah, the burn door is 24 by 24 square.
Okay, so you can fit a pretty good chunk in there.
as long as it'll fit through that door, the chamber is 48 inches deep.
So it's 2 feet by 4 feet, basically.
Yeah, and the inside blows out more. I mean, the inside's probably a 32-inch round all the way through. But if I had a 22-inch log that was,
2 feet long or 3 feet long,
47 inches long, I could take that whole thing and shove it. Now, would it burn?
Yeah, that's the next question.
Probably not efficiently. I mean, if I had a good coal bed under it, it would probably keep going. Anything, basically for me, anything that's like 8-9 inches and below, I leave whole. Anything that's 10-inch logs or bigger, that's the shit that I'll split.
Because that probably burns a lot more efficiently.
It does. The split stuff is really good to get it going and keep it hot. But those big, like this time of year, the big logs themselves, if you just throw logs in there, they'll smolder for so long that as soon as that fan kicks on, saying that it needs heat and it's got to bring the temp up, they'll stoke themselves right back and just keep burning.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Is it worth getting?
Yeah, we paid $12,000 for it, and that was 4 or 5 years ago, and we've already saved that in propane. So 4 or 5 years, it's paid itself off, and now if I keep up with it, it's free heat. So this year's a big year. I want to try and I can't afford a $30,000 processor, but I want to build something to, I'll throw the logs on it with the tractor. I've got conveyors right now that I'm going to try and see if I can engineer to make those work. But throw the logs on that conveyor, something. I mean, well, they're not powered. So I don't know. Yeah. So I got to find a way to get, whether I go through and do like some sort of chain drive or belt, whatever I want to do on it, figure something out so I can lay the logs on it, feed them over top of the splitter that I have, because I just got a county line 30-ton, 25-ton splitter, whatever. But I can feed the logs over the splitter and then just cut them in place by hand, split them by hand, and that's going to save me from having to cut it all on the ground, pick it all up, throw it all in the splitter. So we'll see. I'm also looking for I don't know what it would even be, like a hay elevator, like a 20-foot hay elevator or something that I can put off the side of the splitter. So when I split it, I can have that thing run and throw the logs on, the split logs and everything, and just have them shoot up into a pile. So they
couple of places to look. Tractorhouse.com for your hay elevator.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Surplus Return or Wisconsin Surplus Auctions.
Okay.
In Wisconsin, they got all sorts of different shit.
Especially, I'm a big fan of auctions. Too.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna get.
But you can always win if you had enough money.
You can always buy new if you have enough money too.
That's true. Those are a couple places that, if I was you, that's where I would start looking, because and a lot of those have, like little 1.5 horsepower electric motors on them.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
120 outlet, plug it in, extension cord.
Generator. Even run a generator.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Well, that's the other thing too, is like if there was something, if I did find something that was PTO drive, I have an extra hydraulic port off of the pump that's on my splitter, so I could always hydraulic drive all that too. So I got options. I got ideas.
You
I
sure
just
do.
need the time. I don't have the time. That's the problem.
Yeah, time seems to keep
Especially
going.
in summer schoolwork, man. Fucking 14 schools in Rockford that we're doing.
No shit.
14 schools that got to be done in 8 weeks.
What are you guys doing to those?
Adding new, like the unit ventilators, them big old fucking things that sit on the walls. They do heating and cooling all via, well, can't say all via water. Half of them are water cooled and heated, and the other half of them are, they call them DX. So it's got a refrigerant coil that
on the top or on the
roof,
bottom.
yeah, and it pipes in just like your house AC would. Pipes in through that for cooling, and then the heating is either electric, so it'll pull outside air and heat it electric through like an electric heat coil, or some of them run off of steam.
No kidding.
Yep. So, and I think we've got 168 of those to do total between all the schools, and that doesn't include the 168 matching intakes that have to go through roofs and windows and walls and ceilings that have to be tied in. All the the relief dampers and everything else that have exhaust fans are getting changed out.
Y'all are going to be busy.
Stupid. They're already talking. They're like, oh yeah, well it'll be like 5 10s and an 8 on Saturday. I'm like, it's gonna be a 5 fuck yous at that point because I ain't wasted my whole summer. God damn it, I got Monday night golf league.
Oh my God.
Talking 58, 60-hour weeks all summer. And the money would be good, but then you get fucked in taxes at the end of the year. So
that's the shitty part, right? Mm-hmm. It's you spend all that extra time and you love the overtime, right? Yeah. Time and a half or double time, depending on what it is, or hell, even triple time sometimes. It's phenomenal. But then you look at your taxes, you go, oh, well, I figured it out one time. There's a fine line, right?
38 and a half hours.
No, that fine line of overtime. I think it's 47 and a half. That's your best bang for your buck.
To where you get enough back where they don't take as much.
Exactly. If you get more than, I think it's 47 and a half hours total for the week.
That's when you get ripped.
That's right. Over that. Your sweet spot is like 7 and a half, 7, 8 hours, whatever it is of overtime. You get more than that, they just start taking more.
That's how it was when we were doing the renovations at Clausen. I mean, we weren't working 10s. We were working 5 8s and then 8 on Saturday and 8 on Sundays. And the paychecks.
Oh, so just 7 days a week.
7 days, yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, I suppose 7 days a week when you look at it that way. We were working 7 days a week. That went on for a few weeks out there. And it was insane because my paycheck would be double. It would be 2 paychecks I would get a week. But then looking at the taxes, they take out a paycheck and a half in taxes. So by rights, I'm making 3.5 paychecks in 1 week, and I'm only getting 2 of them. I mean, it sounds greedy, but on the other hand,
it's not though.
No, and the way that I look at it is, on my 40 hours, I'm consistently working. I'm going to pay taxes no matter what. On my 40 hours, take your taxes. Anything over that 40, I'm doing for my fucking self.
And for the company. And for the company.
And for the company. We'll make them a lot of money too. But I'm doing it, I'm doing it to try and get myself ahead a little bit. That overtime is optional. I don't have to do it. So you don't have to take fucking taxes out of it. That's the shit that irritates me.
I look at it as if you're somebody that consistently puts in overtime, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. No, I'm not looking at this wrong. If you're somebody that consistently puts in overtime every week, 45 weeks a year, right? Then there should be a tax break then.
There should be. Or even if it's hour-wise, if there's so many hours overtime a year that you work, there should be a tax break or a tax credit or something.
Or they should tax the business more.
Yeah.
Because that way they're saying, hey, you've got 10 guys that are putting in X amount of overtime every week. Guess what? You can probably afford to hire another person.
True.
You can afford to help somebody else out, right? To do this job. So either we're going to give everybody there a tax break for working so many extra hours a year, or we're going to start giving you, I'm not saying a tax deduction, but we're going to increase your labor tax based on that you could hire 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 15 more people
for what they're paying in overtime.
For what you're paying in overtime.
The only reason that I could see that coming back to be a negative on the company itself is the situation like what we're in right now. We're looking for guys and all the benches are empty. So it's like we can't even find people to hire. So that
absolutely.
That would be a arguing factor on the company's side of things, but I get what you're saying with that.
But there's also the other side of that too, right? Okay, so you got 6 months out of the year, and that's only half the year. You're telling me you can't find enough people in 6 months?
That's true.
Because if you can't find enough people in 6 months, tells me you're probably not doing something right. Whether you're not offering enough money, whether you're not offering good enough benefits, whether you're offering too much work, whether it's too far from home. I can go on and on and on. I'm looking at an employee side of things. You're right. A business side of things, we're saying, hey, this is what we pay our guys. This is what we expect out of them. This is what their normal hours are. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be nice to see something change, to actually benefit the middle class working Americans, but it won't. It won't. We just keep getting by.
Did you hear what the great governor of Illinois is wanting to do now, right?
No.
Yeah, he wants to put $1 billion more tax burden on the residents of Illinois.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, he wants to up taxes basically to create another $1 billion.
So the $100-some million a day that they make off of the tolls isn't enough to cover their bills?
I heard a rumor they don't even own the tolls.
Oh, really? Really?
How about that one?
I wish I owned the fucking toll. I wish I owned one toll booth. I could own the toll booth on Irene Road and be
Give me the
happy.
shittiest toll booth you got. I'll buy that one.
I don't need like 59th and Cicero or what. I just give me fucking Irene Road and Belvedere and I would have enough to live.
Yeah, as far as I know, Illinois doesn't even own the toll roads anymore. I heard they sold them off.
Oh, that makes sense. It sounds about right.
It sounds like something they would do.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a rumor. I haven't heard specifically, but
well,
maybe China had something to do with it.
it could be.
Russia.
Could be. Yeah.
Russia collusion.
Yeah. They got Putin over there lining his pockets with our toll money.
Did you watch that?
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Did you watch that?
That was interesting. Yeah, I did.
Man, and when you sit there and you listen to the whole thing, it's what, 2.5 hours or something.
It was long.
It's long.
It was long.
And I didn't catch it all. I caught bits and pieces.
It was hard
of it.
with the translation because it was like the translation was delayed and it still had that Russian accent. Like I get why they did it, but they should have done the translation in an American accent because some of the words like they'd come out so quick and it's like, what the fuck?
What did he just say?
Yeah.
Gotta back that up a little bit.
Yep. No, it was cool though. I mean, it definitely, some of it seemed propagated. Like,
Absolutely.
it was propaganda for sure. Like he spent 45 minutes talking about the history of Russia and Ukraine. I mean, oh yes, Mother Russia. But I see why he did it. I mean, he went back and basically explained to Tucker Carlson why they're doing what
they're doing what they're doing. I don't agree with it.
Right.
I don't.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, to say that your border on Russia was 150 miles south of what it is in Ukraine, so you're fighting to get that 150 miles back.
It's not worth it.
Come on, man.
With Russia being as big as it is anyway, what the fuck do they need it for?
Well, and that's where I was at. I was sitting there like, really? Who says that these people that were 150 miles in this border, or whatever that number was, I think it was 150 miles, whatever it was, and who says that they want to be part of Russia?
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and they even there was even a part in there. I don't remember if it was in that or if it was in something else. It may have been on one of Shapiro's podcasts or something. But they were talking about the Ukrainian soldiers that were basically, they lived on that border and they're fighting for Ukraine against Russia. And they said from each of the, basically bunkers that they were fighting back and forth against, they could hear, they were speaking fluent Russian to each other, basically saying, I'm not dying, I'm Russian kind of deal. I'm not going to surrender. And like, it was kind of nuts. It was kind of, I don't know. It kind of gave me bumps, like it was just weird. It's basically, it's a civil war is what it is, because that part of Ukraine right on that border.
Yeah. You go 20 miles on either side of that border and
right.
They're fluent in both ways because they probably worked on both sides. Mm-hmm. It's no different than where we're at.
True.
We can be in Wisconsin.
We can be in Wisconsin getting tacos.
Exactly.
Or we can be in Chicago getting some hot dogs.
That's right.
Either way.
You're pretty good at those accents.
Yeah, that's one of my talents. I like doing accents and stuff.
When you're driving 2 hours each way, you could play with that kind of stuff.
Accents. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It was just, I just thought it was very interesting the way he said, like, we don't want to fight either, right. But we are.
Right.
And I don't know if he meant that or if he said that just to say it, but I kind of, the way this body language told me like he didn't really want to fight.
Yeah.
But
and that's the thing too, like when they were talking about sitting down with Biden or whatnot, and even Putin was like, I've tried. I haven't heard from him in 6 months.
It wasn't a year.
It could have even been. Yeah,
he's like, I called him.
I've been trying to reach out, and he went back a lot to their intelligence agency and our CIA. Doing a lot of the pandering back and forth. But I mean, even to the point of when he comes out and says, "Yes, I tried calling him and setting up meetings and never heard anything." Like that's because we're sending trillions of fucking dollars to Ukraine.
No, it's just billions now.
Oh, billions. Oh,
yeah, it's like 100. I think we're only at 186 billion.
Can I have like 0.1% of that from my pocket? I should call Zelensky and be like, "Hey, give some to your homies."
You do that. You tell me how that works for you.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I got your back till it gets physical. All right.
Oh no, you can help me out. You're in great shape now. You can help me out with that. Hang on, I'm going to call in the Wombat.
Who's that?
That's old K-Dub, baby.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was interesting though. Yeah, I listened to that whole thing. I don't know if I'm a huge Tucker Carlson fan. I don't dislike the guy, but he's got his own political agenda too.
I don't dislike him. I'm not fucking sitting on his lap either. I think
I'm just the thing that impressed me the most was he had the balls to go over and sit down and have a conversation with the man.
That's what I was going is
that takes some big balls.
When it comes to watching his interviews, he doesn't try and filibuster them. That's the technical word that they use for like adding in extra words to divert around the question is filibustering. He doesn't try, if they ask him something that's a controversial topic, he's speaking what's on his mind.
Absolutely.
He's telling you what his opinion is on it, what his views on it, whether they're right or wrong or otherwise. That's none of my business. It's not anyone else. That's his opinion. Our opinions are our own fucking deal. But
thank God we got our own opinions.
Right. Well, yeah, we're not communist Chinese party or whatever it is. Yeah. But no, I think when it comes to sitting down and doing interviews and whatnot, he is very good at what he does.
Agreed.
So
100% agree with that.
Yeah.
He didn't get to where he's at now by being bad. And he'll talk about anything and everything. I mean, he talked about, what was that, Blackstone? Who bought Fox and then they fired him after he did that interview? Was that not Blackstone?
No. I know who you're talking about.
But still, I mean, it's like, here your new bosses come in and say, okay, guys, I'm your new boss. And he turns around and says, well, these guys are a bunch of asshats.
I know.
I mean, you got to give the guy
him his
a little credit for that.
Yeah. Like you said, he doesn't get to where he's got, with that, whatever it is that he's doing on Twitter or X or whatever it is now, they said that's the most watched news broadcast in the world.
Well, he's got his own thing now.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson Network.
Carlson Network, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's where I watched the Putin thing on.
Oh, really?
Was that.
Yeah.
There was no ads, no nothing. I mean, just 2.5 hours of him talking.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. Like I said, they set it up really well. I don't remember what they said it cost him to be able to get the translation and all that done. But I don't...
Too much, I'm sure.
It's wild. It's wild. Just sit down with something. Like our president can't even fucking go do that. Well, he can't even sit down and talk with anyone for 10 minutes. So. Hang on. I'm going to do my impersonation of him.
Ooh, sleepy.
Oh, ice cream.
I do like ice cream, though.
I like ice cream.
We do have that in common.
Yeah.
Ice cream is good. Man, I could have went for an ice cream sandwich or something today after lunch. I was like, crave me some ice cream.
You got to beat those craving down like a bad habit.
No. Want more.
Hell yeah. So what's your diet life consist of?
Meat.
Flip the tables.
Lots of meat.
Viewer now.
Yeah, I've been doing that carnivore diet.
Carnivore's good.
I've been eating a lot of meat, a lot of cheese.
Cut carbs out.
Yeah.
Other than a couple of
I mean, tonight,
tasty
obviously.
beverages here.
I think these are only like, I think somebody told me there was like 2.4 carbs.
Oh, no, there's not a lot. These have a lot. Miller's.
3.2 carbs.
Oh, Miller's might have less. They might have 2.9. Oh, no. 3.2.
Yeah.
We're on the same level. No, I did the carnivore for a while, and it went good. It helped a lot. I lost like, I don't know, only 10 or 15, but I don't have much to lose.
No, yeah.
The biggest one that has helped me, and it's helped back as well, is fasting. That is some
I've heard
serious shit. Like when we get done with dinner at night, 6, 7 o'clock, whatever time it is that we get done eating, you go on I forget what we were doing, 14 hours. I think it was a 14-hour fast or 15-hour fast or something like that, where you're allowed 50 calories. So you can drink your black coffee in the morning, and you can have, water and like the C4 energy drinks and whatever I have. They're like 5 calories or something like that. So you're good with that, but you don't eat for that, 12, 14, 16-hour timeline. And then from the time that's up, so say it's from 6 p.m. to 11 a.m., from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m., you basically eat, graze, snack, whatever you want to do, and just keep your cycle going of that fasting. And, dude, it is fucking nuts. Like, in the mornings, you feel better, like you're more energized, and it takes a week and a half or whatever to get used to it, but you just feel better in the mornings, and the weight, like, just falls off.
Shit.
I couldn't believe it. When I started that, it was after last winter. And I was like 214 pounds, which is the heaviest.
You were that
I was
big?
214.
No way.
Yeah. That's what made me like, I need to fucking do something. Because normally I float. My high school weight was 175 pounds. And out of high school, I got up to like 182 to 186. So 185 is what I called it. And then, not paying attention and drinking and eating and doing whatever I wanted to for 4 or 5 years, I was up to over 210, 212, 214, somewhere in there. I stepped on the scale. Jesus Christ, said I need to lose some of this shit. So I did. That's when I started the carnivore diet, and I lost 10 pounds off of that. And then I went from that into the fasting and lost like another 10 or 12 pounds off of that. And I'm back to 185 pounds.
Good for you.
And I hold it. I'm not necessarily counting calories, but I eat lunch and I eat dinner and fast from dinner till lunch. So,
and that's, my day. Usually take break in the morning. Mm-hmm. I'll usually have some type of sausage and cheese.
Yep.
Hunk me off a couple slices of that, have that for break. And then lunch, whatever I have. Mm-hmm. Usually it's burgers or brats, or if I smoke something on the smoker, hamburger meat, whatever, just something. And then same thing for supper, if I even have supper, depending on how the rest of the day goes. If I'm busting my ass, then I'm, come 5 o'clock, I'm like, man, Kyle hungry.
Kyle must eat.
So then I'll eat. But there's a lot of times where it'll be 7 o'clock, and I'm like, it's not even worth eating right now.
There's been,
lately, I'll just wait till in the morning when I get to break, and then, have my big thing that I've noticed is something I've been doing different, even since I've been on the carnivore diet, and that is when I get up in the morning, drink a bottle of water. Within the first half hour you're up.
Interesting.
I feel way better. The biggest thing about the carnivore diet for me is I don't feel bloated at all.
Yeah.
It is, unless I cheat and have something that I shouldn't have, like potatoes. Oh my God, I miss potatoes.
Potato.
Like for instance, last week wasn't feeling the best. I'm like, I don't want to cook anything. I'm in town, so I stopped by McDonald's for the first time in
God, that had to
probably 3 months. Oh my God, I regret it every freaking time I think about it.
Yep, that's what's crazy.
But it was just like, it's something to eat. I need something to eat, So what? I don't even know what I had, quarter pounder with cheese or whatever it was, and of course I had the fries too. And but it just, man, after an hour I was like, oh.
You just feel heavy. You just feel
just feel like shit.
That's the craziest thing too. Is like, after eating somewhat clean. I mean, I still, some of the shit that I make is bacon grease, fried, fucking whatever. I mean, I make good shit. But cutting fast food out of your diet,
it's huge.
The first time you go back to it, like even if you don't eat fast food,
it tastes like shit.
Even if it's just a month, it tastes like shit, and you feel like the whole rest of your day, you legitimately feel like shit.
I was excited because I'm like, man, I haven't had a quarter pounder in months. Like, I remember how good they taste,
like, yeah.
And then I
take a bite of it, you're like, it's fucking cardboard.
Exactly. I took a bite of it, and I'm like, God, I can make burgers better than this. And they're selling these things at $10 a lap, you know?
Yeah, that's the other thing that's insane, too. When we were going down, we just spent last weekend down in Knoxville. And
Tennessee.
Knoxville?
Tennessee.
So, yeah, we were headed down there. And
did you go to the farm show, or...
No. No, what's a farm? I'm just a dumb construction worker. No, we went down and looked at wedding venues. So we went and looked at one just outside of Gatlinburg that we were pretty dead set on. It was a piece of shit. Yeah. It was not nice. It was like I said, they paid their photographer a lot of money to get pictures of that place.
The funny thing is when I sold my first house, it's amazing what a good photographer can do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because I was like, I got to go online and look at this thing. It's up now, and I start looking through it, and I'm like, wow.
Wait, I want to buy this house.
This house looks great. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad house by no means, but the things that they can point out and the things they can take pictures of and use the lighting the right way, and it just makes everything look bigger, brighter,
more open,
better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it was too. The biggest turnoff to the first venue that we looked at. I mean, that's the whole reason we went down on that trip was to look at this one specific venue. Like I said, we were going to put down the down payment and have everything ready to go and start moving on it. And we showed up, and it was, like I was saying earlier, it was smaller than expected. And we go walking into where the ceremony's at, and that was their big claim to fame, was they have the mountain view of Mount LeConte, which is the main mountain behind Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area. I mean, it's the biggest one in the Smokies in that area. And that was their big claim to fame as well. You know, your wedding pictures, everything will have Mount LeConte in the background. All right, cool. So we went down and looked at it, and their pictures online. I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous. You get there in person, and 300 yards away, there's 35 brand new cabins up the side of the hill that are right in front of, in between you and the mountains. So it's like, no matter how you try and take those pictures,
There's still a cabin there.
there's houses, there's cabins with red roofs, and there's white-sided cabins, and like it's not like it blends in like a rustic cabin with a green roof, you know, like what you would think of in the mountains. It's these fucking modern home looking things.
Good thing you went down and looked then.
We did, and checked out a couple other spots that were nice but not what we were looking for, and we ended up settling on this. And I know it sounds funny, I was telling you that too. We ended up settling on a vineyard outside of Townsend, Tennessee, which is, if you go down like you're going towards Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg down the main strip, that 441 or 66 or whatever it is there, the mountain range that divide the finger of the mountain range of the Smokies that divides Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg from Knoxville, just on the other side of that range is where Townsend is. So it's tucked back in the mountains, and they call it the quiet side of the mountains because Gatlinburg and everything, Jason Aldean's bar and Old Red and Old Smoky Moonshine
is on the other side.
Correct. So it's a big party town, and I mean, like, there's a lot of shit going on there. Well, you drive 35 minutes to the other side of the mountain, and it's like driving through rural Harvard. Yes. But you're in the mountains. So it's like beautiful views everywhere, but you're driving down the road, and you're not seeing brand new Priuses. You're seeing like Billy Bob's 86 GMC that's beat to shit that he's driving because fuck it, it's a running truck. You know, I mean, like that's more our speed. And that's why when Beck said, yeah, we're going to look at a vineyard, I kind of crossed my eyes and said, what the fuck do you mean we're going to look at a vineyard? And
what did I tell you, though? I said, I bet you it's freaking gorgeous.
Dude, and we went and looked at this place, and a black roof cedar pine building. It's fucking awesome. So that's what we ended up deciding on. So it was a good trip. We got 2 more trips that we're going to make down before the wedding itself, maybe 3 more. I mean, we're going to make more in between that, but we got 2 or 3 more trips specifically for the wedding.
Well, it's good to go down there and say, okay, we know now this is where we're going to have it.
Yep.
So let's go tour everything around that.
Yep.
Set up maybe hotels, Ubers, lifts, cabs,
just
buses.
That's
when
we,
and then I don't know if you're going to have your bachelorette party down there, but if you are, you can go down there and say, hey, this is what would be really cool if we went golfing or if we went to, whatever. Mm-hmm. You can go down there and look at all that stuff and come up with a plan at that point too.
Yep. And that's going to be, I mean, we've been going down there for a few years now consistently, 2, 3, 4 times a year. And we've been more or less on the Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg side, and we've never really been over to the Townsend and Seymour and Knoxville, and we've never been to that side as much.
So is that the west side then?
It would be. Yeah, it would be the west side of the Smokies there, like right at basically the foothills of it. And so now the next few trips that we go down, we got tastings and we got photographers and we got to go down for everything else.
Perfect.
Well, we're going to go through and just start making like a checklist or like a map that we're going to print on the backside of the invitations.
Oh, cool.
And say, these are your options for lodging, and these are like within 10 minutes of where the venue's at. There's Cades Cove, which is it's like I want to say it's like 100,000 acre like preserve it used to be ag back in the 30s and 40s. It was one of the only flatlands in the Smokies that they could do ag. So everything in there was corn and beans. Well, they preserved all the old buildings and the old mills and everything else. I got a couple pictures that I'll show you from out there. But they've got all the old buildings and mills and everything else that they've preserved in there. And they put a road that skirts the outside of the whole thing. So it takes like an hour to drive through it all. It's absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, we've been going down 3 or 4 years now. We had never been back there. So it's like that's something on a hit list. There's a road. It's a 20-mile long road that connects Townsend to Pigeon Forge, and it's called Little River Road. And I'm not shitting you. If you were to take a piece of string and just throw it on the ground and see what shape it turns out in. That's closer to that road than the road is. I mean, it's literally just back and forth the whole way. I'm like, how come we didn't take this when we were on the motorcycle?
That'd be really cool on a motor. I was just going to say a motorcycle ride down that would probably be awesome.
Yeah, we did Tail of the Dragon.
ATVs or whatever.
I think side by sides are legal all over down there. But we
Jeep without doors.
Yeah,
whatever. That'd be cool.
We did the Tail of the Dragon. We did. There's a road. It's like Sawtooth Ridge or something like that, and it's basically Tail of the Dragon is child's play compared to this fucking Sawtooth Road or whatever it was that we were on. That thing was insane. It was like, I'm pretty goddamn good on a bike, but going through that, I'm sitting there like trying to dog shit in a peach seat. Oh my god, it was bad. You know, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I felt like a newbie on a bike, man. It was bad. But like the riding that we did was beautiful. But like on the other side, if we would have just went the other way and spent a couple days, like even staying at the cabin that we're at, you know, if we would have just went the other way instead of going towards North Carolina and gone back west into Tennessee, it is so beautiful over there, man. You could spend weeks down there.
Oh,
and just get lost. I mean, you just get lost in it. So
yeah, there's a lot of beautiful places, not only in our country but in the world that not a lot of people know about.
I know. That's it. Yeah,
and it's cool.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cool.
It is. I mean, that's why I like taking buddies and whatnot down there. Like we're going down in April. It's my dad and I, one of his buddies and another one of my buddies, and maybe my father-in-law going with. And I mean, it's just fun taking different people down there and showing them like what, like your kind of paradise. You know, like that's the whole thing behind the wedding and whatnot. I mean, that's where we're going to end up retiring down there. Mom and dad are going to end up retiring down there, and it's like bringing down our closest friends and getting to share that area with them and kind of show them around.
It's intimate.
It is. And I got goosebumps talking about it. I mean, it's fucking gorgeous down there, man.
You know, we live in the middle of, we live in the donut hole is what I'm called, was what I heard. It was perfect. You know, you got Chicago and Madison and Milwaukee and Rockford and, we're in the middle of all of that.
You throw a dart right at the center and that's Harvard.
That's us. But the funny thing is in my opinion, one of the best views is less than a mile from where we're sitting right now.
I will agree with that.
It's just amazing. I mean,
it is, and that's the thing too. Is every time we come back,
especially when a sunrise comes up, you come up to that stop sign
over the wheat.
And oh my god, it's just.
Are you trying to get me hard?
Not yet. It's just one of those amazing views that not a lot of people see unless you travel down this road at the right time to see that view. And then it's if you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention, and you're just going to look both ways and you're going to turn and you're going to go. But if you look just a little bit, it's like, wow.
That's even like, if you catch it, I have a picture of it somewhere, but if you catch it at the right time of year, a sunset on my road facing west, the sun comes down perfectly in between that arch of trees that's up on top of the hill. So you've got this beautiful fucking sunset off to the west, and then the sun is right in the middle of that arch of trees. It's the same. Anytime we come back from a trip, yeah, it's gorgeous wherever we go, and it's pretty. You go to Colorado, you go to Florida, you go to Texas, you go to Tennessee, you go anywhere. It's beautiful. It's new, it's different. And then you come back here in the middle of the summer, like that's most of our trips are at the end of summer. You come back here and the corn's tasseling, and you're driving around with the windows down, and you're smelling the corn, and just, you're seeing, you got the little bit of humidity in the air, and it's 75 degrees, and the sunset's painted on the sky, and it's like, there is some fucking beauty around here too.
There's beauty everywhere.
This time of year, there's not shit.
Well, the problem is there's no leaves on anything.
Everything's dead.
It's
all gray and brown.
The only time that it's beautiful is if you have, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's true, is if you get a light, fluffy snow.
That's true. This time of year,
all the trees are just covered with just this snow, and the sun setting or rising at just the right point. Man, it's still gorgeous. True. Even though I hate snow, it's still gorgeous to see.
Winter. I just hate winter.
Yeah, wait till you get a little older. I mean, I'm not that much older than you, but
older enough
to
you
know
got
that
a few more winters under your belt.
Well, you're like me. You've broken a few bones in your life,
and
those things start to act up a little bit more.
And that 30 below shit this year is the first year that I noticed it with my knee, because I got pins and screws and everything else in that thing.
I think we went over that the last podcast.
No, because it was September. Oh, going over my knee. Yeah, that we did.
Yeah.
So yeah, they, having all that shit in there and 30 below zero, and you go outside and within 5 minutes, you're like, why does my knee feel like someone's
It's so
stabbing
stiff.
It's weird. It's fucking weird, man. Yeah. I can imagine it only gets worse.
It does. Well, I mean, I'm going on 36. So, but I know people that are 65 and they're like, man, you just wait till you get to be my age. And I'm like, I'm looking forward to it myself. But
that's why I always hate bitching about anything. Cause it's like, yeah, my lower back does hurt and I've got wrist problems with carpal tunnel and whatnot. And it's like, I don't bitch about it because anyone's going to look at me and be like, oh, you're 26, wait until you're 36 or wait until you're 46. And it's like, well, I'm going to hear that the rest of my life.
I'm the same way.
I guess
just shut up, toughen it up and move on with life.
We talked about that last podcast.
We did.
We did.
I wanted to bring that up too. I've still had people reaching out to me that listen to our podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Mom as well. She's like, oh yeah, so-and-so came in and said that, they heard about this from the podcast and whatnot. And I'm like, man, dude, that every time, like I said, if she messages me or anything, I screenshot it and send it to you and say, dude,
I like to hear it.
We're doing something. That's awesome.
Yeah. Mental health is one of those things that everybody deals with differently.
You're correct.
Right, wrong, or otherwise, everybody deals with differently. So the cool thing is that you and I were able to sit here and have a conversation about it. Like I said, we weren't doctors or lawyers or anything like that.
Just 2 dudes with
just
beer.
just 2 dudes that went through it and still going through it consistently.
Yeah.
But to have people that reach out or to know that people have reached out that listen to what we had to say and then try to go help themselves, man, I'm pumped.
And I hope it works for them like it did for me. Like I was taking, those CBD supplements and everything else. I was taking them for a couple months or whatever, and it turned everything around. Like I feel a lot better and, more focused. Mental acuity is better. Everything just feels better, less depressed and anxious and everything else. And
I'm sure you still got your days just like everybody else does.
I do. And I was able to, I know this is a bad business model from my mother, but I was able to over the course of a month, instead of taking them every day, like on a clock, I would take them every other day, or I would take them just in the morning and not at night or whatever. And I'm to the point now where I don't take anything, and I knock on wood. I mean, luckily everything's been fucking awesome for
good for you.
Months. So
good for you.
It had to have done something. That and
mindset's a big thing. Yeah, I find myself going into those angry, dark places. So I've got ever since I fixed like the sad, woe is me, anxious kind of thing. I have noticed that my temper's a little bit. Oh
shorter.
yeah,
my temper's a lot shorter.
Yeah. I figured that out too because I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I got past that point. I was at that point one time that I was down about the decisions that I made and the things that I did, and I was just angry. I was sad and disappointed. Now I just get angry.
It's Galen saw it come out of me yesterday. I was ordering tires from him, and 4:30 in the afternoon. My work day stops at 2. They don't pay me after 2 o'clock. My work day stops at 2. 4:30 rolls around, and I got my superintendent calling me saying that there's something showing up for a job site that was showing up today, and how come this isn't ordered? How come that isn't ordered? And I said, whoa. Fucking stop the bus and let my brother Jack off here for a minute. Like not a month ago, Tuesday, I got an email saying that none of this stuff was coming in until 3/29/24. Now it's coming in 2/29/24. So someone in the email fucked up a number. So I told him straight up, I said, lack of planning on your guys' part doesn't constitute a fucking emergency on my part. And Galen's sitting over there laughing. I'm like, what do you want me to say? I'm not going to sit here and freak out about it.
Oh my God.
That's not it. It falls back on logistics and everything else. I'm doing my job to the best of my ability. That's what you guys are paying me to do.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, no, I get it.
Poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on my part.
What I was going to tell you is sometimes when I get into those angry, dark thoughts, you got to flip that script. You got to change that mindset.
You got to force yourself. Yeah, you got to. You have to. You got to push out of it. Because then
it can be
not good for yourself.
It can be something simple, right? Yeah. I had one when it was really flipping cold. I was home. It was 9 o'clock at night. I just got done working 15 hours. Of course, I'm pissed off at the world because I worked 15 hours. It's part of the job. I understand that, But
you signed up for it,
and I get it, Yeah. But I was still angry and pissed off. So you know what I did? Did something simple. Stripped down to my boxers and I walked outside for 5 minutes. Guess what?
bless your
when I
heart.
came back in, I wasn't angry or cold. I go, holy shit, it's cold out there.
You also had an innie. God.
It's an inning to begin with. So,
well, all right.
but anyway, yeah, I literally walked outside. It wasn't 5 minutes. It felt like 5 minutes. It was probably more like 45 seconds. And then I came back. But guess what? My mindset was changed.
You were back to zero.
That quick.
Yep.
It was that. And then it was, oh man, I need to get warm.
Hot shower.
And then about 7 minutes later, I'm like, ooh, sleepy.
Yeah.
Bed. I mean, to do something simple like that completely change your mindset, that gets you out of that place, works for me every time.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that too. I mean, a lot of the times, like my version of coping with anything that comes up that starts to either, put me in a shit mood or yeah, correct. That's perfect. Yeah. Anything that starts to eat at me, I more or less, I don't necessarily shut down, like on the outside, but I'll sit there for whatever it is, a couple minutes or something. And I'll just sit there and think to myself, problems, solutions to problems.
Solutions.
And that's it. And once I find solutions, then my brain connects the problem to the route to the solution that we're going to take and how we got to get from A to B. And it's helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
I was going to say that too. Even if you're a business person, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who you are. If there's a problem, don't think about the problem, think about the solution.
Right.
Because once you think about the solution, now you're already
in the right direction.
You're already changing your mindset. You're already changing your business. You're already changing your employees. You're already changing your money intake, your money outtake. You think about the solution, and then you find that solution and you go for that solution. That will eliminate a ton of problems in the future.
Pushes a lot of headaches out. That's for sure.
And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's, like I said, it doesn't matter. Think about the solution more than the problem, and it will reveal itself.
Yeah. That's another saying from the trades that I liked, is this looks like a solution looking for a problem. I've used that one on engineers a couple times, and they sit there cross-eyed looking at you like, what the fuck?
What did you just say?
Yeah, this looks like a solution looking for a problem.
God, there's the truth to that.
There is, isn't there?
Oh, my
there's so
God.
many times where everything's laid out right in front of you, and then you try and find the bad thing in it, and then you manifest it. The bad thing happens, and it's like, okay, well, now the bad thing happens, so I got to figure out how to make the right thing happen to get the bad thing to go away.
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up. Today was a perfect example of that. My boss is an awesome guy, a complete optimist guy. Complete. I'm a realist. That's just who I am. And I said, every time I say something negative, like, well, if we do that, there's a potential that this could happen, and it really could. He always just says, think optimistic, man. And I'm like, no, I am, but I'm just telling you, if we do it this way, this might work. And he just looked at me and said, think optimistic, man.
I like that. I like that. Just simple. Just simple.
And it's like, all right, maybe I don't have to be a realist
Think optimistic.
all the time, but
No, that's perfect.
that's just who I am. I always I try to look at both sides. It doesn't matter if I'm an employee or an employer or a partner or a friend, whatever. I try to put my feet in both shoes to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because then the realist in me can go, okay, here's the solution.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
To help both parties, help three parties, help my party, help their party, whatever.
Check it out from both sides before.
And that's tough to do, though.
It is. There's a lot of situations where it's, virtually impossible to see it from both sides. But it's the attempt of trying to get to it from both sides to figure out what the root cause of the issue is. That's a key factor in solving problems.
I think the world needs more of that.
I think the world just needs more thinking.
And figuring out what the other side is talking about.
That's just
there
can't
opinion.
be this, and I don't, I'm not in like the middle of the road by any means. I'm definitely more conservative than anything.
I would agree with that.
But you can't sit here on one side and just sit here and keep saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then the other side sitting there going, la, 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 my feelings are hurt. You can't have that. It doesn't get anywhere. If you and I had a disagreement, what's the easiest way to solve that? Sit down at a table and talk about it. And I'm not going to sit here and cross my arms and say, well, I'm not listening to you because you're not right. I mean, that's not the way to go about anything, and that's what's happening in the country right now.
Yeah.
Is you've got 46% of the country on one side of the fence, 46% of the country on the other side of the fence, and the rest of us stuck in not at those figures, but
Yeah, whatever those numbers are.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the left side and you've got the right side, and they're sitting on either side of the fence, and we're stuck in the middle like a fucking volleyball.
And it's not just political either, right? It could be business partners. It could be siblings. It could be husband and wife. It could be boyfriend, girlfriend. It could be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're not going to let the other person speak their piece when you're speaking yours, nothing good can come out of that.
No, that's a dictatorship, whether it's in a relationship, or
Exactly.
business or anything. That's
Exactly.
You can't. In order, there's that saying: in order to get along, you got to go along. That's to an extent. That doesn't mean that you have to sit there and be a yes man. That doesn't mean that you have to
line
sit there.
bends, right?
Right.
To be a yes man. That line bends until it no longer bends, and you got to say, "Whoa,
Right.
time out there, senor."
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that people that I work with do that I don't agree with, but I'm not going to sit there and voice my opinion on every single item that I don't agree with. I'm going to sit there, and if it's something that's drastic, that is either safety related, time related, cost effective or whatnot, that does not legitimately make sense, I'm going to confidently voice my opinion on it. And if you don't want to listen to me, have at it, because I'm going to sit on the back burner and watch this fucking shit show tumble downhill. Told you.
But the other thing is there's more than one way to skin a squirrel.
Correct.
So just because you do it this specific way and you know it works this way, maybe this person does it this way and they're just as efficient as you.
Right.
They do the job just as good as
you. I've learned so many things by that. Like I've been dead set in my ways of doing things, and Hunter catches the brunt end of most of it, because when he was majority of his apprenticeship was with me. So it was like, it was, when you bring up an apprentice, that's what it is though. Like, this is how we do it. This is my way. This is how we do it. You're working with me, whatever. Well, nowadays I'll see him do something. What the fuck are you doing? Don't do it like that. Like just bantering back and forth. But I've learned a lot of things from a lot of different guys, some older than me, some younger than me. Some guys are first years and I'm showing them how to do something. They're like, well, why don't we do it this way? And I'm like, don't tell anyone you told me that. I told you that. There's back and forth. Like there's ways to go about it. And then there's the blatantly obvious, like, this is not going to work.
Yeah, dude, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just do this my way. Trust me, it's going to be fine.
Right. And that's where, the where that line is like, you have to be assertive in that field, because you can't just let everyone have it their way. Like, at some point they're going to have to turn around and be like, okay, yeah, you're right.
It's not about right or wrong. It's knowledge.
Correct.
You have the knowledge to know that for a fact this way works. You can ask 14 out of 15 people are going to say, yep, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the way you're doing it is wrong.
Correct.
Right? You're still knowledgeable because you're like you said, why don't we do it this way? Oh, well, I'm an idiot because I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Carry on, boy.
That's like they should have a sit down with these people that have, not bashing on anyone that is on the right side of things or whatever, but like these people that have liberal arts degrees that are trying to tell us about these, the firearm laws and everything. They should have a precursor to that. If you're going to tell me how to use a firearm, I want you to sit down at a table in front of me and take apart an entire firearm, clean it, and put it all back together in under 2 minutes, and then you might have a chance of talking with me on that.
You brought it up. I'll go along with this a little bit. Firearms to me is no different than a vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. If you misbehave, if you have too many tickets, if you have too many felonies, you're going to lose your license. Firearms the same way. Mm-hmm. The difference is that you and I, and along with 100 million people in this country, grew up with firearms.
Correct.
We know that if we can have a loaded firearm sitting right here in front of us, and nothing is going to happen.
Every day.
Nothing is going to happen. It's the person that is operating that firearm. It's no different than a vehicle. You get somebody that's never driven before behind a vehicle, they're probably going to be a little bit more on the wrong side of life.
Dale Sr. died in the car.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, accidents happen. there are certain, firearm safety things that do have to be erred on the side of caution. But when it comes to telling me what I can and can't own,
agreed.
I have my FOID card. I have my concealed carry. I've gone the legal way to obtain all the firearms that I have.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Dan's Diesel Performance. If you're looking to improve your truck's performance, efficiency, or appearance, check out Dan's Diesel Performance. They manufacture turbochargers, fuel injectors, fuel pumps, transmissions, intake piping, and much, much more. Plus, they offer all the top brands in the diesel industry. They're located in Machesney Park, Illinois. Visit their website at dansdieselperformance.com or give them a call at 815-977-5865. But as far as firearms go, I mean, like I said, it all depends on, people are afraid of firearms because of what they can do, but they also need to be mindful enough to know what they can't do.
Well, and that's the crazy thing too, is a lot of people that are afraid of them because of what they can do have never handled one because they're afraid to even handle one.
Agreed. I 100% agree with that.
My kids under, supervision, under my supervision, my kids, my 5-year-old, my 6-year-old, they're learning how to shoot on 22s and pellet guns because that's how I was taught. And the only way to learn firearm safety is to safely know how to fire a firearm. It's a single shot. The gun is literally from like 1903. It's a single shot that's been handed down all the way through the family. So it's like I've got 22 short subsonics and I got a pop can at 20 yards. And we'll go out and I'll set them up on the trailer and they set the gun on the trailer and all right, cock the
one shot at a time.
That's it. Make sure that your V and your pin line up and you just squeeze the trigger.
That gun is pointed in a direction where it's safe.
Yep.
You always treat it as it's loaded.
Yep. And they love it. I mean, they really, every time they come over, if it's nice out, Dad, can we go shoot? Dad, can we go shoot? Absolutely. Absolutely we can, because I'm going to instill that in you to know what you're doing around these, not to just walk up to it if you see one and be like, oh, look at this.
Yeah. Right, wrong, or otherwise, you're teaching them responsibility to handling a firearm.
Correct. And that's the country. I can't say the world because the world's fucked up too, but the country needs more of that. Like I said, the people that are making these firearm laws that have never handled a firearm a day in their life need to go through, even if they were to go through like a 2-day, like we have to go through hunter safety. So if they were to go through like a 2-day firearm safety course before they started trying to make laws about these things, then they have some sort of knowledge and precursor behind them where the gun's not going to jump up off the table and it's not going to shoot you.
No.
It's not going to shoot me.
Nope.
It would take you or me to pick the thing up to shoot one another with it, and that's not a gun problem.
What I was going to tell you is I seen a newspaper clipping from 1965 comes into my brain. I think it's 1965. They were teaching how to shoot rifles in school.
Dude, I believe it. I believe it.
I mean, it wasn't very long when I was in high school. It wasn't very long before that they banned guns on the back racks of your pickup trucks.
Yep.
It wasn't.
That was when my dad was in school. He said that they'd hunt quail on their way to school.
They were doing that in the 90s.
They'd throw their shotguns. Yeah, because I think he graduated in 90 or 91 or 92. No, Mom graduated.
Come on, you should know this.
He was born in 71. So
what are you looking at me for?
Maybe 90. I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, 89 or 90.
But anyway, he said that, because he went to Bigfoot and Sharon, whatever, for school. And he said they'd be hunting quail on their way to school, unload the gun, throw it on the back rack, go into school, come out for lunch break, jump in the truck, go out and shoot more fucking quail, come back, throw the gun in the rack. If you even legally, as a concealed carry firearm holder, you can have a firearm in your vehicle on school property. It just cannot leave your vehicle because of the whatever law it is.
Correct. And it's got to be concealed.
Correct. It has to be concealed. It's not like it can be out in the open on a back rack or anything. But if you don't have that and you're just driving around and say like you've got a gun rack in the back window with an axe handle in it for some reason and someone says, oh, I think this guy has a gun, you're going to fucking jail. Whether it's a gun or not, you're going to fucking jail. It's insane. And this is in the matter of, 30 years?
Not even. Yeah, 30 years.
Ish. Yeah. I wish we had a button that we could just push and rewind this fucking clock. Keep some of the technology that we have nowadays because it makes life a little easier, but rewind this fucking clock as far as politically and everything else in the country and just start over. Just fucking start over.
Could happen.
It's an election year.
It could happen.
Civil war.
Well, like I told you off air, the last time that they tried to pull a presidential nominee off the ballots was Abraham Lincoln. And what happened when Abraham Lincoln won presidency?
It was Civil War.
Mm-hmm. I'm a firm believer that history repeats itself. Mm-hmm. I just don't want that to happen.
I don't either.
Because that would not, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good at all. Yeah.
We won't get into it.
We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes now, so it's probably a good time to.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's been good. We ran over a lot of topics real quick.
It was good.
That means everyone's going to have to watch it twice.
Maybe.
Because it's February 29th.
It is February 29th.
4 years.
Well, thanks for coming over on short.
Thanks for having me. Short notice.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Notice.
Brain fart.
Sorry, I'm all wound up right now.
No, I get it. No, it was really good being back. I'm glad you gave me that text today. So.
Yeah, thanks for coming and talking about Tennessee and everything like that. That's it's been great. So
yeah, hell yeah.
Until the next time.
Till the next time.
Thanks, John.